for a second and hopefully, so yeah, here we go. Seem to be going up, climbing the top of this one. But unfortunately a bunch of monkey orange again. This burrow, maybe he'll come around to this burrow. Come see this burrow, little boy. Yeah, on this side. I just want to stop. I don't want to. If I go forward, it's going to prevent him from maybe coming around the termite mound. And there is a very big burrow here. And he might climb. Here we go. Look at that. He's very well now. He's smelling and seeing this burrow right next to him. He's been going to take it easy for a little bit. Should just go and move some of those grasses out of them. Just that one blade of grass in front of his face. Or I could drive forward a little bit. One little blade of grass in the face, in front of his face, but rewarded for our patience and perseverance, I guess. And it's remarkable how nature does that. Sometimes in just sitting in one place you see the most amazing things. And it's not always necessary to chase after things and rush around looking for stuff that's never going to show itself. And how often it is that we're just looking at all sorts of little things. One has the lucky break to be in the right place at the right time to see a leopard on the road. If we had been a few seconds late and he had already crossed the damn wall and started walking through the bush where we followed him, we would never have even known. Maybe I would have got a message to say that the Zoomy had seen him crossing the damn wall. Of the planet. Called zoomies because you are able to pan and tilt and zoom in on different things, and with a high definition digital camera you can pick up some very interesting things with those cameras. I need Hello, Douglas in Connecticut. Douglas wants to know if I made direct eye contact. With him when he was right next to me and he looked up at me. I did in a way, Douglas, but not really direct eye contact. Well, eye contact, yes, but not wide open eyes. I call it soften. I soften my eyes. When you can know it, it's shut. Softening the eyes is what I call it. And I do that whether I'm on foot or whether I'm in a vehicle. When I have a cat close to me or looking at me, that's what I do. I like to believe that it's a universal language for cats. Yeah, he's just done it now because I looked at him. And what is most amazing about it is when you do look at a cat and they do soften their eyes, it's almost an acknowledgement of it. It's acknowledging that we're making it. And the situation of the status quo, that neither of us are going to do anything to the other, that there's a mutual trust, I guess. Right now we're far from any roads. We're in a very large, what we call a block, an area that is deep in, it's about equidistant from all the roads around us. And it's almost as though you can imagine nothing, nature, and in the middle, and enjoy his company. Trying to get comfortable, I guess. Gonna relax for a bit. I'm going to try and go a little bit forward now, I think. Or maybe we'll just have the Sphinx profile for a little bit. Anything you want to know, folks? We're talking leopards right now here in Djuma Game Reserve, part of the Sabi Sand Game Reserve in South Africa. My name is Marc. Cameraman is Jason. Wim and Scott are in final control. Probably green with envy, as I would be if I would spend some time with him. Can I have a definitive ID, please? And absolutely no doubt who he is ID. For those of you joining us, are highly territorial, and I guess we see leopard as far as the big cats are concerned. Leopard we see more than any other. they are given names here in the Sabi Sands. There is a little bit of a familiarity that grows with having names. But they are born to the presence of vehicles, and by being exposed to that from, well, I suppose from a few weeks old, when we see them for the very first time, they take their cues from their mother and how to behave towards or with the vehicles in their presence, and over time they get to learn that even though I'm sitting here and I'm chatting away, it's of no threat to him, it's of no consequence to him. Perhaps it might be a little irritating, who knows, that these vehicles follow them from time to time, but generally it's moments in. Liza from Calgary. Liza, actually quite rough. I've only handled lion, darted lion, sleeping lion. I would imagine it's a little soft. Very hard to they look soft. I mean, we look at that belly hair on this little boy when he was, occasionally when he's lying on his side, or you can see a little bit of it in the bottom right of him there. It looks like you just want to touch, just want to rub him on his belly, or of course he goes first. And one thing that I should mention though is a lot of these wild cats, big cats, you shouldn't really handle them without one thing I learned a long time ago with darting lion is that there are bacteria that live on the hair and live on their bodies, largely because their life really big lion. I haven't ever been in petting zoos. I don't like them. Maybe for bunnies and guinea pigs and goats and things, domestic animals. But for wild animals, some of these wild animal parks where people get their photographs taken with cubs, lion cubs, tiger cubs, and the like, I feel that poor animals. They're put through such misery just for the pleasure of photograph. He also heard something on the radio to let guys know they can copy me, if they can hear me. Let's do a test, see if this is going to work. Stations on Voyatella. Looking at you, Jason. While I was on the radio. Okay, copied. Sounds like the wild dog further east of Cheetah Cutline. East as much. Carol in Chicago. Can the age of a cat be determined by the change of color from pink to dark? I'm assuming we're talking about the nose now. Ordinarily, yes. Ordinarily, the big cats, lion and leopard, start off with pink noses, and as they age, their noses become black. Lion, it's quite a distinctive sequence of aging. First a few blots, and then 80%, and then totally black over about a 5-year period. I'm just looking at his nose. Ordinarily, being only a 2-year-old leopard, I would imagine that his nose would be a lot pinker than that. Oh wow, look at this, right next to us. This tree full of sour plums. That's why I haven't been seeing sour plums, because the ones next to the road, the plums have all been eaten. We'll get a look at that shortly. Got a leopard on camera. We don't need to take it off camera just to look at some sour plums growing on a tree. If I could, I would reach for one right now. Tony, just grab me one. Together above could be the number of spots just above the whisker line. We can see the 3 main line whisker lines, and just above the whisker line there's a line of spots that is very distinct. In fact, since lion don't have spots, that's one of the easiest ways to identify lion, because they'll retain those spots all their lives, but things like scars and notches in ears will change. Lion a little bit sometimes, especially when they're younger, before they do gather scars and become very distinctive. Counting the spots above the whisker line is actually the easiest way to identify cats. It could be that big spot, that teardrop shape, or is it an Africa-shaped spot in the corner of his eye? Of course, there's key features that help us to identify the different cats. I'm starting to get to know them better now. I would have loved to have seen the two of them together the way I saw Mishu and Induna growing up, and then after them Shivambalana and Shivinzi. And then look at the corner of the one and see how it differed. I mean, that was one of the ways that we could tell Mishu and Induna apart, was in the corner of the eye, the way the spots joined to form a V for Mishu, and how in Induna it sort of formed like a teardrop, a